This is a 2026 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, the second generation of Hyundai's largest SUV, which of course has 3 rows, but is now almost 200 inches long. And regular viewers of my channel will notice right away that I am not on my usual route. I am not in my usual state. I am a guest of Hyundai in California to try the new Palisade out. So this will not be a full review, but I will get through as much as I can. The Calligraphy is the top of 7 trims offered on the Palisade, above the SE, 3 SELs, the new XRT Pro, the off-road version of this, and then the limited trims. But the question I have is, did Hyundai truly improve on the first generation Palisade, or just make it different? Let's find out. I review all kinds of cars, and I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price of the base Hyundai Palisade SE is right around 40 grand. I will put the price up on the screen for you to check out. Moving up to a Palisade Calligraphy does raise that price considerably, of course. I'll go ahead and put that price up on the screen for you to see now. And my test car, as far as I know, is a base Calligraphy, so that's the price of it. Okay, now is a good time for me to pull over and show you around and inside and under the hood of this new second generation Palisade. Looking at the front of the car, this is a somewhat familiar shape, but definitely smoothed out compared to before. We've got these bold, vertically stacked daytime running lights right here, which gets bigger and starts pointing towards the center right here. And then we have the main beams just inside of that. And then we have these polished metal elements that run full width the car here, and then another one at the lower grille right down here. We have a bold Hyundai emblem right in the center, and then just a vertical drop for the grille. This is just a very flat, purposeful, imposing grille. The top parts are blanked out, but then this is real grille down low down here, but it is blanked out again on either side. And because this is a second generation, we've also got a new engine under the hood. And there is the new 3.5 liter V6, 287 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. It is transversely mounted or side to side like that. When you look in front, that you can see we have 0W20 weight oil, and our dipstick is right up front right here. And finally, windshield washer fluid is on the passenger side right up front, easy to get to right here. Looking at the profile, you can see that it has a fairly similar shape, but it is longer than before with a longer wheelbase than before. And that just gives it just more of a presence. Again, this is nearly 200 inches long. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen so you can check those out, and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. You're looking at the largest available wheel, a 21-inch wheel on the Calligraphy trim of the Palisade, 265/45 R21s. You do have a little bit of sidewall to work with, but considering the size of this thing, not that much. But I can assure you that the ride is still plenty cozy. And yes, this is a family size crossover SUV. The wheel and tire in back is the same size as the one in front. By the way, it is also standard equipment for it to be a load leveling rear suspension. Looking at the back of the Palisade, you get a little bit more of that polished metal down low here, right at the base of the tailgate, and then right at the base of the bumper down here, with these reflectors and little light elements down low right here. Under here is the trailer hitch, and because this is nearly 200 inches long, there is a lot of space inside. Let me show you. We do have a decent amount of cargo space behind the third row. I will go ahead and put that number up on the screen for you to see. But this top Calligraphy trim also has this slew of buttons right here to automatically control a lot of things about the seats. From here, you can move the third row seats forward, and now all of a sudden we have more cargo space behind the third row. I'll put that number up on the screen right now. We have, I think, my favorite button in this entire car, and it's this one right here. It says all. I just do one touch, and all 4 seats, the third row and the second row, neatly fold down to give you a pretty darn flat, huge hunk of cargo space. And I'll go ahead and put that number on the screen for you to see right there. What if you still need to carry 4 passengers? Well, still push of a button easy. I go to the second row right here and I lift it up one touch. I'll go ahead and put that number up on the screen for you to see. You have this button down low and this button up top. Press either one of those, and without changing the articulation of the seat here, I have easy access to the third row. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and you can see that I have no knee room. And I also have pretty low seat bottoms, so I don't have all that much thigh support, and I also have not quite enough headroom as well. But I can still move the third row back. And now I do have a little bit of knee room. All right, but that's still enough time back here. Single press of a button again. I am still 5 feet 11 inches tall, but now I have several inches of knee room. I also have much higher seat bottoms, so plenty of thigh support. I also have plenty of headroom and much less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. Of course, the top trim of the front seat has even more. Plenty of controls on the door right here. We have 2-position seat memory right here and seat massage right there. We also have many controls for the seat right here, including another relaxing seat position. So put the seat in the lounge position for the front, and you can see that you again have a nice relaxed position. The seat bottom tilts up, the seat back goes back like that, and you get some added thigh support right here. So if you need to say rest for a bit while you're waiting for your child to get out of school, you have this lovely option right here. The steering wheel itself is a nice thick rim and a fairly small diameter, and we do have this polished metal right here. And we do also have several media control options on the right, cruise control options on the left. We also have this Prindle on the stock right here, which includes the engine start stop button right there. And that turns on your 12.3 inch digital instrument cluster and your second 12.3 inch center display. Altogether, this is your panoramic curved display, and it is nicely integrated into this like curved oval dash right here. Also, this top calligraphy trim has a 12-inch head-up display right there, and we also have a nice high-end Bose stereo right there. And of course, we have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. No more wires for the Palisade anymore, fixed for the second generation. We also have a wireless charge pad for your smartphone right here, and look at that, 100 watts of charging power for your smartphone right there. Of course, we have dual zone climate control up front, and of course we have heated and ventilated seats up front and a heated steering wheel as well. We also have a bunch of drive modes. I'll get to those in a minute. We also have these 2 deep cup holders here and lots of space in the lower center console right here. Looking up, here is our rear view mirror that doubles as a screen, and our dual moonroofs right here. The rear privacy panel is electric, the front one is manual. Built into the second generation Palisade is the dash cam that will record things and save them. So if you need information, it has it saved for you right here. Look at that. How cool is that? These are the live images from those dash cams. It's both front and rear. That's a clever setup. And of course, we do have lots of drive modes. We actually also have terrain modes. So currently in drive modes, and then I use this dial here, and you can see that I have Eco, Normal, Sport, and My Drive. But if I go to terrain mode, I now have snow, mud, and sand. So there are more configurations for the all-wheel drive systems and the slip control systems like traction control and stability control to adjust to specific conditions that you're looking for, be it on or off-road. That's especially helpful for the new XRT Pro version of the Palisade. So yeah, there is a lot going on here. I'm really only just scratching the surface, but I wanted to at least give you somewhat of a look at this new Palisade. To show you more of how it drives, we need to get back on the road, so let's get back on the road. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. We have a new V6 in the Palisade, but it is still a V6. The original one had a 3.8 liter V6 that made 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. This new engine is a 3.5 liter V6 that makes 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. You look at the size of this new engine, you look at the horsepower figures of this new engine, and you say, why replace the engine? And the answer is emissions. To keep up with ever-tightening emissions regulations, Hyundai brought in a new V6 that does a better job. I do think that the Palisade can afford to lose 4 horsepower and 2 pound-feet of torque, but much more than that, and I'd start getting worried. We do still have an 8-speed automatic transmission, and you can still choose between front or all-wheel drive. This Calligraphy, of course, has all-wheel drive. And my initial experience with this powertrain is that it's pretty darn good. Maybe even a little bit better than the first generation. This engine runs smoothly, balanced, it revs cleanly, and we tend to have a linear buildup of power. If I floor it, pretty reasonable downshift, and yeah, good build power, good linear buildup of power there. It's not overwhelming amounts of power, certainly, but it's healthy, it's fine for a vehicle of this size. And that actually was in the sport driving mode. I'm going to switch to the normal driving mode, see if it feels any different. Okay, normal driving mode, slowing down. Floor the accelerator again. A little calmer about kicking down, but then, yeah, good power. This engine is very equivalent to the 3.8 liter in terms of output, but I do think it gets there just a little bit more smoothly and refined than the first generation motor did. And lower emissions, sounds good to me, so I'll take it. This is an 8-speed transmission, like I said, just like the old one was, and it feels awfully similar. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this is the exact same 8-speed automatic transmission that the first generation Palisade has. Hyundai did not explicitly say one way or the other, but it suits me fine, it suits this vehicle fine, so no problems there. And the all-wheel drive system is working fine so far in the Calligraphy trim at the very least. So it'll be interesting to see if the XRT Pro all-wheel drive system feels up to doing off-roady things. Later today, I'm told I'm going to get a chance to try a couple of off-roady things in an XRT Pro, so we'll see. All right, everybody, I am now in a Palisade XRT Pro, and it is time for a little bit of off-roading. We are in a vineyard with a little lake, and we're driving around it, but we're driving around it in, an off-roady, precarious kind of way, and we'll see how this XRT Pro feels. Oh, and it's 97 degrees outside, so you'll hear the air conditioning. Okay, officially through the off-roady gates, and display. So I cannot see at times, but there is display, the center display. So as I move, I get this on the center display, and that helps quite a bit. And now we've got a steep descent coming up. 18 degrees of descent right now. That's the hill we're on, and obviously we have plenty of grip to use the brakes. A nice little ascent here, not as stiff as the descent certainly, but 12 degrees I saw climb, 13, 14, 15, yeah, but still no big deal. All right, I think the tight bit is done, but we have this nice sweeping uphill left to go through now. Yeah, it's definitely some loose gravel. We're slipping a little, but it's not bad. Okay, one more obstacle to go through, and this was set up for this particular obstacle course. We are in the sand mode, even though I don't see any actual sand. Here we go. So it looks like first kind of whoops of the road are even with the axles, so just one axle up and down, just kind of giving approach and departure angle there. But now they're uneven, so one axle up, the other one down, so it's really going to work on the suspension articulation, suspension travel. Going under 1 mile an hour. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we get the dip. And then we're going to come back up the other side. Oh yeah. Oh yep, and we're in there now. Ooh, there's a nice dip there. Ooh yeah, getting that suspension to wiggle around a little bit. Nice. So I'm relying a lot on the center display screen so I know what's up. All right, now for this third one, looks like the passenger side stays high, the driver's side gets low, and just stays that way. See how this feels. Oh yeah, we're pitched. Ooh, yeah, 13 degrees I saw. Yep, 15 degree pitch. I'm sorry, roll. 15 degrees of roll there. Now we'll get the other side of it. 13, 14, 15 degrees on that side. Okay, now the final step is this nice little rocky patch. This looks properly bumpy, and we've got some rocks pretty tight in between. You can see, since we're at the beginning, you can see the hood camera shows a little bit, but that is what I'm driving over. Oh boy. Oh boy. Definitely don't want to go quickly over this bit. But I think we made it. So there you go. Successful off-road test in the Palisade XRT Pro. Similar size engine, similar output engine, similar size vehicle, though a little larger. I do expect similar fuel economy numbers, and indeed that is what we get. I'll go ahead and put those numbers up on the screen for you to see right now. Of course, while fuel economy is very important, it's never as much fun as accelerating. Of course I had to test that. Let me show you that right now. All right, everybody, time for a quick acceleration test. I do have traction and stability control limited, and I have a pretty straight hunk of road. Let's see how it goes. Okay, coming to a complete stop. Bit of brake torque, 2100 RPM off the brake. Not bad, decent launch. Smooth shift, pretty fast one as well. Nice smooth shift 2.3 as well, a little bit more than 6,000 RPM. Yeah, that's good acceleration. Good acceleration for this size of crossover. Smooth acceleration, linear buildup of power. Yeah, totally fine, competent, and plenty of power to get this thing moving. All right, let's dig into the chassis. Again, this is largely similar to the first generation Palisade. With one exception, Hyundai actually put a lot of work into isolating the cabin better than the first generation Palisade. That means more expansive noise insulating carpeting on the floor of the car, more sound absorption padding in the quarter panels of the car, and even using thicker glass for the cabin. While we've only been driving for a few minutes, I did get a ride in this car a little bit before, and that did include a fair amount of cruising at highway speeds, and it was impressive that it is noticeably quieter than it was in the first generation Palisade. The first generation Palisade was fine. It wasn't behind the competition in any sense in that way, but this one feels like it could be approaching class leading when it comes to cabin isolation. I didn't hear any wind noise, road noise was kept to a minimum. It was a nice, calming, peaceful place to be. In terms of the chassis itself, we definitely lean heavily on the ride side of the ride and handling spectrum, but that's what you'd expect for a mainstream 3-row crossover, and the chassis is certainly competent, and obviously the ride is nice. It soaks up bumps just fine, and it does so without feeling underdamped but you do feel a healthy amount of body roll, and the steering is light, to be sure. It's also not the fastest steering out there. I'm in the normal driving mode right now, and turning the wheel, yeah, it's soft. The body leans a lot, but the steering response is reasonable considering the size of this vehicle. And again, nothing about it's unsettling. It's competent in everything it does. It's just not sporty in any kind of way. Now, if I switch to the sport driving mode, do that again, the steering is a little bit firmer, but it's pretty much the same. This is just a softly sprung big 3-row crossover SUV. That's just the fact of it. But the things it's supposed to do well, so far it is doing well. And in that vein, you can tow with the Palisade. If you get the internal combustion engine, you can tow 5,000 pounds, which is, you know, pretty much right smack in the middle of what crossovers this size can do. And that's plenty to tow a decent sized boat, a few jet skis, definitely plenty of motocross bikes, and even a small camper. So for a family crossover, it's totally fine. But to get a better sense of cabin isolation, I did get the chance to drive it on the highway myself. Let me show you that right now. All right, time for a quick stint on the highway. I do have the Palisade back in the normal driving mode. Traction control is on, of course. See how this feels on the open road. Okay, cruise control is set at 72 miles an hour to go with traffic. At that speed, the engine is turning around 1900 RPM, and it is very much smoothly running in the background, no problem there. And we do have several driving aids. I'll go ahead and put those up on the screen right now. And that does include Highway Driving Assist 2, which also includes automatic lane change. And sure enough, there it goes. Yep. Changes lanes automatically and smoothly, no problem. We're also going through a curve right now, so I'll take my hands off the wheel. And yep, keeps us pretty well centered in the lane as well. The driving assist bits are doing their driving assist thing pretty darn well. More fundamentally, we are gonna... 505. So that was a very short highway stint, but more fundamentally, it was a very quiet short highway stint. I was very impressed with the wind and road noise isolation. This is a very quiet, comfortable cabin. And the seats were also plenty comfortable as well. I appreciated having ventilated seats today for sure, and plenty of lumbar support as well is always appreciated. So, what do I think of this second generation Hyundai Palisade? I think Hyundai did a lot of good work here. It's perfectly fine that we went from 3.8 to 3.5 liter engine. No problem there. We still get the 8-speed automatic. We still get the perfectly functional all-wheel drive system, etc., etc. I think they did good work to quiet this cabin down further. This is among the best for keeping out wind noise and road noise. I'm very happy there. And it's also a very comfortable car. Getting a larger footprint helps. A longer wheelbase, longer length, gives the second and third rows just a little bit more room to work with. And then Hyundai did a lot of work to make that room flexible as well, especially if you go with the top trim, having that movable second and third row to set up the space to suit you best. I think that's a good, clever idea. Make the space as useful for each individual case as you can. Me personally, I would prefer a little bit more firmness in the suspension to get slightly better response when things get a little dynamic. But again, it is competent in what it does, and it does also provide a comfortable ride. So yeah, Hyundai built a better Palisade for the second generation, not just a different one, to be sure. It's spacious, it's comfortable, and if you get the top calligraphy trim, it is luxurious too. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.